when you sue over the Constitution or federal statute, you usually bring the case in federal district court. That's the lowest level. It's a single judge. They control the entire case. They're all over the country in every state and city. We sued Harvard in the District Court of Massachusetts, which is where they're located, which is where you have to sue them. Whether we win or lose, it will next go to the First Circuit Court of Appeals, which covers Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Maine. And after that, of course, it's the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court does not have to take the case, but if 4 justices want to take the case, it goes up, 4 out of 9. And so, Edward did a great job introducing the topic. What I want to do is tell you a little bit more about the case itself, why we chose Harvard, and what we're trying to do in this case with the evidence we're trying to uncover, and how we think that will help end the use of race in college admissions. Let me be clear. That is our goal. Our goal is to permanently end the use of race in college admissions. And if you're going to do something like that, Edward said, well, what about Harvard? And the first thing you do when someone says you want to sue Harvard is you take a deep breath. Because it's Harvard. Okay. But that's why you sue Harvard. Because they're Harvard. So we could have sued Yale, we could have sued somebody else, but there's a reason why you choose a school like that. Because that is the school that is held up as the example of how it's done right in this country. Okay? When the Bakke case came through, the Harvard plan was held up as the way race is used properly, that it's used gently. Only at the last stage of admission, when the last 2 seats are open, and 2 students are competing, and one's from Indiana, and one might be an African American from the Bronx, and they're trying to figure out who to take, and so they say, race in this one little way makes the difference, and we're going to do that. And we're not discriminating against people, and we're not discriminating against classes of people, or from entire regions of the country, and it was all a lie. It was a lie then, it's a lie now, and we are going to prove that it's a lie. Okay? And it starts, with 1 student. And 1 student comes forward, and then 2, and then 3. How many do we have now? It's 10. Because an organization, it can bring the suit, right? Students for Fair Admissions can file the complaint, but the organization isn't injured by the policy, right? The organization doesn't apply to the university. The organization doesn't get rejected by the university. Students do. And so what the organization needs are students who have applied to Harvard or want to apply to Harvard, whether they're freshmen in high school, sophomore, even middle school, to come forward and say, I stand with you, I'm a part of your organization. And so when the court says, who among your members are injured, we can say, you're there. And that's why you choose Harvard. So if you're going to convince the Supreme Court to go back on 30 years of decisions, you can't just go up there and say, well, you were wrong. And they say, well, everybody tells us we're wrong. Where, I forget there's a line that says the court's infallible, it's infallible because it's last. It's not last because it's infallible, right? So they get the last word, so they're always right. And you have to convince them that something wrong happened between when they made a decision and what's happening next. What we want to show them is, and I say this bluntly again, Harvard lied. Okay? And if Harvard is not doing this right, how can you expect anybody to do this right? And in fact, it can't be done right. There is no gentle way to use race. At the end of the day, you have 2 students, and someone is going to be discriminated against because of their race or ethnicity, and someone is going to get a benefit because of their race or ethnicity. And that is wrong, and it is always wrong. And that's what this case is about. And so we filed a 122-page complaint against Harvard. It took us 6 months to draft. We read every study, we read every book. We looked at Caltech statistics. We looked at Berkeley's after they, the state through the breaking and eliminating race. And what we saw was something shocking. Okay, and Edward pointed this out, that about 18 to 20% of the admits to Harvard are Asian American. Now that is troubling in and of itself, given that the similar demographics are applying to Berkeley and Caltech and getting in at about over 50%. And those schools tend to admit on the same criteria. So something is wrong, first off. But there's something even more startling and troubling than that. And this is what shocked me from the beginning. Anybody want to guess what the Asian admit numbers at Yale are? Okay. 18 to 20%. Princeton? 50. 18 to 20%. Brown? Every Ivy League school admits Asian American applicants at 18 to 20%. Anybody think that's a coincidence? No, it's not a coincidence. They are all doing this. They are all discriminating against Asian Americans for the same reason as discriminating against Jewish applicants. They just don't only want so many. That is wrong. And what they're doing is they're forcing the Asian American applicants to compete against each other for admission. I'm sure you feel this in your schools, among your children, when they feel like, I'm not competing against the kid from Westchester, New York, you know, the white kid from there, or any kid from there, really. They're looking at my school and saying, okay, we're only going to take so many Asian American applicants. They're all very qualified, they're all very good students, and so they're going to have to compete against each other. The Supreme Court has made clear that is wrong, okay? So if we can prove that, it will not be a great challenge to convince the Supreme Court that Harvard has done something wrong. And I don't think it's going to be hard to prove. Yeah. It'll take a lot of work. They've hired an army of lawyers. We have a smaller army of lawyers. Thanks to Mike, it's slightly bigger now, but still not quite as big as what Harvard has and University of North Carolina has. But we have enough. We'll prove it. The big question in the case is, well, what are we going to do next? Are we simply going to slap Harvard on the wrist and say, stop doing it? And they're going to find some new creative way. It won't be leadership next time. It'll be character. It'll be, oh, the essays weren't quite as good. And you hear all the stereotypical things, and they write stereotypical things, you know. And they'll come up with a new way to hide the discrimination. Or is the Supreme Court finally going to say, enough? It cannot be done. If Harvard can't do it right, who can do it right? The answer is no. And so that's what we're going to try to do. Now, this is going to take a long time. I won't get to too much of the details of litigation, but you basically go through a period of what they call fact discovery. That means we ask them for documents, they ask us for documents. We do interviews with all their employees, we review their emails, we look for all the evidence of discrimination we can, and review their statistics. Harvard hides their statistics. It's interesting. They give out all sorts of statistics about who gets admitted. There's one statistic they've hidden since Grutter was decided in 2003. How many students from each racial category apply? They'll tell you how many are admitted. They won't tell you how many apply. And you know why they won't tell you how many apply? Because they don't want to see what they're doing to certain Asian American students. Right? We're going to get that information. We're supposed to get it within 21 days. So if people, not in this room, but a lot of people say, oh, the Fisher case, it didn't accomplish very much. You got this little procedural ruling, but you lost back in the lower court, and maybe the Supreme Court will fix it. Maybe they won't. But I'll tell you what it did get us. It got us to ask Harvard these questions and to force them to give us answers. Because if we had not filed that case, they would have said, oh, dismiss this case. There's nothing to see here. This was decided in Grutter. It's all over. Fisher said, whatever it said wrong, it certainly said right. Grutter didn't decide anything. You have to do it on your own merit. In each case, you have to file an answer. So instead of filing a motion to dismiss, which means we shouldn't have to give any documents, this is a silly case, go away. They filed an answer which said, we did nothing wrong, but here we're going to expose ourselves to litigation and we'll answer your questions. And so we asked them, and we're going to continue to ask them. And this is going to go on for about 11 months. And then we're going to have 3 months of expert discovery. So we will hire experts to review the data and to analyze it, and we think we know what it will show. And then we go to what's called summary judgment, and that's where the parties argue about whether there needs to be a trial or whether somebody has won the case based on the little bit of evidence we already have. And then we go to appeal, and this will go on for 4, 5, 6 years. So students who you think may be too young to be involved now, don't think that. We need 10-year-olds, we need 11-year-olds, we need 14-year-olds, because as students get to our plaintiffs now are seniors in high school and freshmen in college. But you always have to have one member who is currently injured by the policy. So each time these students become juniors in college, they become ineligible to transfer. We need a new student so we can say we still have students. So it's a rolling thing. So everybody sort of plays a part. And by the end of this, we'll have had 30 or 40 kids who had some part in making this happen. So we're excited. We took our deep breath. We sued Harvard.